Welcome back, everybody. Recently I got a haircut, and my hairstylist is a very good friend of mine who is my same age and stuff. Um, and we often get into really interesting talks. Sometimes we just, try to catch up on things that we missed if we haven't seen each other in a while. But this time around, we actually got into a really interesting topic about politics and politicians and how even like the best person who's like, I'm gonna fight for the people and do all the rights kind of stuff type politicians who go into the office, they eventually they eventually mess up, or they become like a run-of-the-mill type politician that you're going, ugh, well, he was a disappointment kind of thing. And I was thinking, why is that the case, right? When we were talking, I was like, well, obviously, when you're a politician, you have to make some hard choices. There's a lot of people you have to please. It's kind of like Robb Stark in the Game of Thrones, series kind of stuff. And spoiler alerts if you guys are still catching up on the videos or the books or something like that. But yeah, when he becomes king and he's like, I just want to be a good king, but what does being a good king entail? There's not always black and white stuff. Sometimes you have to make a really hard decision, and sometimes you gotta chop off the head of your advisor, war general kind of guy, because that's just the way things are, right? And it's interesting because over a course of say like 8 years, if you manage to get office twice, um, politicians have to make a ton of hard choices. They have to make a ton of compromises, and these things add up. The system itself grinds down the human spirit, kind of thing. And you get people who eventually just become a part of the status quo. When they go into the office, things might change temporarily or whatever, but eventually things settle back down into the way it was before. Some of the things might be a little bit better than before, but the changes come very, very slowly in terms of changes to the system. But in the opposite end, you see people, they get grinded down, they get worn out by the system a lot faster. And I took this train of thought and applied it to my own life, and how myself, when I was, say, when I was 20 or something like that, a long time ago now it feels, I had a lot of aspirations, I had a lot of goals, I had a lot of big dreams kind of thing. And as I progress throughout the system, as I go through my 8 years since I was 20, um, a lot of things have happened, and you get grinded down by a system, and you become a part of the system. You are what you compromise. And I say that, but compromise is not necessarily a bad thing, right? A lot of times you need to make compromises, and compromises allow you to survive within the system. I started thinking, well, sure, I might have taken a hit on certain things. Everybody has a book they want to write, but not everybody ever gets around to it. I myself could have had a huge YouTube channel explosion a couple years ago if only I didn't put myself in a 1.5 year hiatus. For those of you guys who don't know, I started my YouTube channel right around the same time Ethos started his. I had a huge influx of people thanks to Captain Sparko when he played through one of my adventure maps early on in the day. And I was one of the big proponents of using MC Edit way back when. But yeah. But then I took a 1.5 year hiatus, and I lost a lot of subs. I probably lost about, I don't know, 5,000 subs or something like that. And whoever was left are just like ghost accounts kind of thing. But, starting now, kind of stuff, just gonna go, and not gonna take a hiatus anymore. I might, trickle down my video output, maybe go like 2 a week or something like that. But I will still continue to produce video content, because that's something that I'm not gonna compromise on anymore. And I think that's important. Instead of looking back in regret and things that you have compromised and lost sight of, think instead towards the future, right? What are you going to do from this point on? It doesn't matter what you are now. What are you gonna be, right? What are the things that you are willing to compromise on, and what are the things that you're not willing to compromise on. If you guys are looking towards your career path, you're like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to try out different kinds of jobs, and if I find something random, even if it is not the dream job that I thought I wanted, you know, there might be a job out there that would make you pretty happy, you know, or happy enough that you can get on with your life and do something else, like play video games all day and make yourself happier, right? You know, like, it doesn't matter what I work as long as I can go home and play video games and enjoy life. Then that's fine. That if that is your goal, you know, I think it's important to set sight the kind of things that you are willing to compromise on, and things that you are not willing to compromise on. And I don't think it's a bad thing to fall under the status quo. You know, not everybody has to be a mold breaker either. I think it's perfectly fine to float. I mean, because what is life, right? I'm not going to get into the philosophical aspect, but as long as you're doing something that is not hindering or harmful to others, and you're doing something that makes you enjoy life and want to continue living, I think that's good enough. That's worthwhile to yourself at the very least. And that's generally, I think, a good mindset to be in. So that's basically the topic, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you did, leave a comment. I know that you guys really enjoyed the previous non-TF2 topic of selfishness and selflessness, and I really enjoyed reading all the comments you guys left on. So think about compromises and think about your future at this point. I'll leave you guys with that thought. Thanks again for watching, and I will talk to you guys next week. Ciao. Bye bye now.
Victory. GG.